Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is MG Govia. I'm the Education Outreach Liaison here at OKA 11. Today's topic is going to be over what do the markings mean? What do those paint and flags, what do they represent, and what to do around them? So I appreciate you joining us. If you have not used the GoToWebinar before, a couple things I want to point out. First of all, that orange arrow that you see in the top left of your interface, if it disappears on you or if you need to collapse it or open it back up, use that orange arrow to do so. And then also, I am running this webinar by myself, but if you have any questions, please submit those, and I promise I'll have a chance here towards the end of the presentation to look over those to see if I could assist in any way. So let's get right into it. Let's start with how the process works. So it's going to begin with the excavator contacting OKA11. The excavator is going to give us a phone call. They're going to go online, maybe use the mobile app, and they're going to give a notification to let us know when digging is going to take place. And they're going to do that no more than 10 days, nor less than 48 hours, excluding the date of notification, weekends, and legal holidays before the excavation is to begin. Once that excavator makes that phone call, our CSR, a customer service representative, is going to be working with that excavator to understand where that digging is going to take place. They're going to draw what's called a dig site polygon to map out that dig site that's described. And then we're going to give a ticket number back out to the excavator for their record or their copy of the request. Then we're going to send out a notification out to the member companies or operators of underground facilities in the respective geographical area. An average of 6 members are notified per ticket. In 2020, OKA11 processed just shy of 1 million locate requests. In 2021, due to a lot of variables, people getting back to work, the increase of fiber install, and other things, that we are on pace to cross 1 million tickets this year. So that means over 6 million locate requests are going to be sent out to the operators that are members of OKA11. So what happens then? Our members are going to respond to that locate request prior to the work to begin date and time. They're going to mark their approximate location of their underground facilities. They're going to use paint, flags, or states. They're going to use the APWA Uniform Color Code, which I'll discuss here in just a moment. And they're going to communicate by positive response back out to the excavator by phone or email, or if necessary, an on-site meeting. The excavator is then going to confirm the site before digging. What they'll do is first wait the required time, make sure that the work to begin date and time that's on your locate request has come, that you've verified that all members listed on that ticket have responded to you either by paint flags on the ground, by an email or a phone call, or an all clear notice. And then once you are ready to verify the location of the underground facilities, you'll want to dig test holes around those markings to properly protect that underground facility by hydrovac, by hand tools, whatever it takes. You want to make sure that you're discovering the depth, the direction, the distance of those underground facilities so that you can work safely around them. A couple things to remember. First of all, private lines will not be marked. Obvious private lines are things that are not owned by a utility or member company. That's going to be things like sprinkler systems, propane lines, things of that nature. And then anytime an operator or a utility turns over that service to the property owner, that would be electric lines, gas lines, water lines, after the distribution. So after a main, after a meter, whenever the repair is responsible by the property owner, usually that's an easy understanding of when the utility transfers from the utility company over to the property owner. And also, OKA11 is not the locating company. We do not locate underground lines. We are a notification center. It's the member company's responsibility to get those lines marked. They may do it in-house with their own employees, or they may hire out a third party. So let's talk about markings. So the operator of those underground facilities are going to come out and mark the approximate horizontal location of underground facilities using that color code. A couple things to remember. First of all, it's not an exact science. They have a leeway, if you will, of 2 feet either side of their markings to where the underground facility should be found. You should always dig those test holes to verify the location of the underground facilities. And then when you are ready to start your projects, always dig with caution as well. So real quick about the color codes. If you're not familiar with it, go to our website. You have plenty of information there at okie811.org. There's color code cards. If you don't have any, shoot me an email, okie811.org. Put in a request. I'll get your crews some wallet size cards to remind them of what all these colors mean. But real quick, white is going to be used for proposed excavation. Prior to putting in locator requests, hopefully the excavators will be putting down white markings to show the locator where the work is going to be take place. Pink are temporary survey markings. These two are always going to be used by excavators or survey design people. They're not going to be used by an operator or a member company. These two are the excavator only colors. Then we go into what the utilities will be marking with. Red is for electric. Yellow is going to be oil and gas or any other pipeline material, hazardous liquids. Orange is going to be telecom, fiber, cable, telephone. Blue is going to be water. Green is going to be sewer. And then purple is going to be reclaimed water or irrigation. So let's talk about the locating. Like I said earlier, it's not an exact science. So when they're going to go to mark, you can see that this illustration, that pipeline is not dead center of where this person was digging. That marking was slightly off center, but it's still found within that 4-foot path. So when you're doing those hand digging, just remember that you want to work from the outside in. You want to go to the outer edge of where the locate path is and work your way towards the middle. So you'll be digging towards that so that you can find that underground facility around those markings. So when you see the markings on the ground, they're going to see paint or flags. In these illustrations, we're going to talk about how paint is used here in Oklahoma to illustrate what is underground. So like we said earlier, blue is water. And so in this one, the single facility is going to be a water line. It's pretty straightforward, tells you the direction it goes. And they should be putting down dots or dashes, excuse me, approximately every 2 feet. For electrical lines, remember red is electric, they may have a two-phase, so they'll have 2 lines on this. A lot of questions come up like when there are 2 lines, where does the outer edge begin? So it's 2 feet to, in this illustration here, 2 feet to the top and 2 feet of the bottom, right? So you get 2 feet on either side of the markings. The area in the middle is just a space for it. So you want to remember that when you're digging around those type of markings. When there is a change in direction, there should be a dash that shows that. There should be a bend in one of the markings. So this water line took a turn. And so there should be an immediate arrow right after the bent marking to show the direction that it is changing to. When there's conduits used, this is another example of a wide marking. The conduit is going to be illustrated by the diamond shapes or the squares that are between the lines with the directions. Remember the 2 feet is from the outside of the marking, so it's 2 feet to the left and 2 feet to the right of those markings when you're looking for that conduit. It's also to give approximate width of the facility as well. When the electrical conduit is used to be marked, it's 3 lines, typically arrows again showing the direction of it. Next, we're going to be looking at gas lines. Yellow is oil and gas. In this case, there's a distribution that connects to a smaller size. When it goes to a smaller size, the smaller size should be given so that you are familiar with what you're looking for when doing hand digging around that area. When there's no conflict, you'll see the circle with the slash through it. The companies then usually mark what company they are. So here in Oklahoma City area, and I believe Tulsa as well, Cox Communications, they usually mark theirs with their company as well as clear. Also with AT&T. Electric companies and gas companies, you may see just their color with a slash. You'll refer to the locator request to see what member companies were on there to determine what companies should have responded, and you can verify that they are all clear. Typically also, if they did not come out to the site, you'll receive an email from them saying it's all clear. So for all clears, sometimes they don't need to go out to the site. They can determine from their mapping and their call centers or their damage prevention centers that they don't need to send a locator out there. So to save time and labor, they'll just send you an email to let you know that's all clear. So keep an eye out for that as well. We briefly talked about the tolerance zone earlier. I want to break this down just a little bit further. We'll start with the paint and flags. In this illustration, there's a yellow paint and flag, so that means there's an oil and gas pipeline below. Again, you're going to find that within the approximate location of those markings. So the markings, you hand dig, you go down from the markings and you find that pipeline. Once you find that pipeline, then the tolerance zones come in. So there's the approximate location and then the tolerance zone. And the tolerance zone is the 2 feet either side of the outside wall or edge of an underground line or pipe. So if then in this example, this pipeline, if it's a foot wide, then after you discover it, the tolerance zone is going to be 2 feet either side of that 1 foot pipeline, which means there's a 5 foot path that no heavy equipment or mechanized equipment should be used within that tolerance zone until the underground facility is completely exposed, protected, and supported. Okay. So to wrap this up, I knew this topic was going to go pretty fast. I wanted to kind of give an overview of what you're going to see on the field. You're going to see the markings. You're going to now understand what the different styles of markings going to represent. Definitely talk about the color code, and then of course the tolerance zone. When it comes down to it, if you can remember the 5 steps of safer excavation, you're going to be good out in the field. First of all, you're always going to contact us prior to doing any excavation. You're going to have that notice well in advance of when the excavation is going to take place, at least 2 business days, not counting the date of notification, and no more than 10 business days. You'll wait the required time. You'll make sure that the begin date and time that is on the ticket has passed. And then you'll want to confirm that response from all utility operators, whether it's paint and flags, whether it's an email, whether it's a phone call. You'll make sure that they've all responded. And then when you get to the site, if you see any evidence of a utility that's not marked, such as like pedestals, manhole covers, anything like that, that you question like if that's there, why isn't the member company on the ticket? Those are things we need to know about. Maybe there's an update in mapping that needs to take place. Maybe you showed up somewhere that we didn't get a locator request for. There could be tons of opportunity for us to look at that. So please, if you see any clear evidence of a facility or underground facility that has not responded to that, let us know so we can work with you to make sure we can correct that. Once you are on site and everybody has responded and you're working around those markings, respect them. Understand their approximate location, the hand dig to find those underground facilities, and then the tolerance zone once you do find the underground facilities to make sure you're not using any mechanized equipment. You'll want to protect those buried utilities during the entire excavation project. Of course, you want to dig safely as well. If damages should occur, do not backfill, do not repair, do not operate valves. I always say this is the second most common sense thing I say. First is always call us or contact us before you're doing any digging. Second, if damages do occur, that nick or scrape or dent may not look like that big of a deal at the time. But once you throw on a couple of tons of dirt back over it, the integrity of that facility could be jeopardized. So you'll always want to contact us and contact the facility owner so that they can assist in what is needed to get that integrity back up to where it needs to be. So real quick, let me look and see if anybody has any questions my way yet. Doesn't look like it. If you do think of any questions, I'm going to be sharing some information on how to keep in contact with us over the next couple of slides. Feel free to ask a question. I have the questions in front of me. So if you don't already, please get in contact with us. Keep following us in our different channels. First of all, we have our blog on our website, ok811.org. Under About, you can follow us. That's where you're going to see quite a bit of information for us, our blog. You'll also see our podcast, things like that right there. Speaking of podcasts, I'll talk about that next. We have a podcast that is monthly. It's called Digging Deep, an OK811 podcast. So you can search for that anywhere you listen to your podcast, or of course you can find it on our website or through our social medias, and you can start checking us out. Our topics aren't just about shovels and dirt. There's a lot of different things we talk about to expand the industry, humanize everything that's out there with damage prevention and safe excavation. So check that out. And then if you haven't already, we have a YouTube channel as well, OK811. We record our podcast through Zoom, so we have video. So a lot of our conversations are going to be recorded there. Almost all of our webinars and other opportunities for us to share information through video is going to be on our YouTube channel as well. Go ahead and subscribe to it. That way, if you miss one of our webinars, you forgot to register for it, and it's gone and passed, you could probably find it on the YouTube channel as well. If you haven't already, please go to ok811.training. That is where you can have the opportunity to get 811 certified. We are very proud of this program. Over 100 811 certifications are already taking place this year. What we do is we give an opportunity for you to go online, spend about an hour, hour and a half in one sitting if you can, to go over everything 811. You'll learn about the planning and administration of excavation projects, site preparation and actions for safe excavation, as well as trenching dangers, those pipeline safety measures, damages, and consequences. Like I said, it's about an hour and a half if you can do it in one sitting. However, it is stop and go learning. So if you need to step away and go do some work and come back in a couple of days, you're more welcome to do so. I just recommend doing it as quickly as possible because the final test for your certification does cover all 3 chapters. And if you went over chapter 1 3 months ago, it'll probably be difficult to pass that test your first try. So just keep that in mind. ok811.training is where you can go to have that certification take place. So no questions were thrown my way. If you do have any questions, you can always email me. My email address is the word education@ok811.org. And I'd be happy to follow up with any questions that you may have at that time. So thanks for spending a little bit of time with us. We finished in just 20 minutes, but I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you so much for being a part of mine. Do everything you can to keep safe out there on those excavation projects. Thank you. Have a great day.